Thank you. Red Santa Claus are here. My world is filled with cheer at you. This Christmas, and as I look around, your eyes out to shine. Man, peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. I want to do a quick video today on the real meaning behind Christmas. Some of y'all might know this, most people might not know this, but we're going to break it down to its smallest molecule. But for those of y'all that don't know me, my name is the Hood Mystic, representing www.hoodmystic.com. Yeah, man. Thumbs up if you can hear me okay. As I'm, operating things on the fly and things of that nature. I'm not going to react to no videos. There's really no videos to react to. There's only scripture to read. Got a couple articles, and I basically just want to elucidate and make a succinct case for the real meaning of Christmas as I understand it. Okay? If y'all ever get a chance and y'all got HBO Max, go ahead and get this documentary called Love Has Won, right? Get that documentary and tap into it, man. Watch it, because I know how, like, you always be talking shit about spiritual people and how spiritual people get down and stuff like that. You get to see the inner workings of a spiritual cult, and there is this ideology that you can't do it alone, that you need help, and somebody is going to save you. The reality is that's not always true. And another thing, that might not ever be true, sad to say. The only person that's going to save you is yourself. And there is no spiritual group. Because at the end of the day, a spiritual group is just one nigga running away with all the money. If y'all can hear me okay, because I have my chat box off and I don't know if y'all can hear me or not. I might be talking to myself. Can y'all just type one nigga runs away with all the money? If y'all can hear me okay. You don't have to write nigga. Just say one person runs away with all the money in a spiritual group. When it's all said and done and all spiritual contacts have been made, is all for one person to be rich and run off with the bank. So, see, I got some thumbs up. I got some thumbs up. Cool, cool, cool. So, once again, I just want to enlighten people and urge people. Hey, is that's how it works, okay? Um, I want to make sure that you guys are aware of the changes that are taking place at White Rabbit Psychedelics for 2024. We have been operating for 2 years now. Okay. We're going into our third year. And for these previous 2 years, we have not charged shipping charges on no orders over $40. And even then, the shipping charge was only $5. We didn't charge no delivery charges, nothing like that. But going into 2024, we are just going to charge a flat rate $10 delivery charge on our orders, whether that's in the city delivery or we shipping out to you delivery. Is going to be a $10 flat rate, and that's going to take effect starting Wednesday, the 27th. So today and tomorrow, you can still order from us, get no free shipping, and you also get a 25% discount when you use the code word Santa. Doing that just to, say thank you for supporting us, bringing proof to a concept that I didn't know was a real concept until people actually started doing the work themselves, healing themselves. Whenever you in a group of people, understand it's all a scam. Even if you don't know it's a scam, it's always going to resort back to what the fuck are you going to do? So if you know it's always going to resort back to what the fuck are you going to do, it's time to take advantage of psychedelics and psychedelic healing through the modality of mushrooms. In this whole conversation, fortunately or unfortunately, I'm going to allude to the power of psychedelic mushrooms. Not only are we here because of plant life, even if you eat meat, in order for those meats or animals, think how crazy it is that we're talking about an animal that a person is going to consume later. But beyond that, even for a fish to survive, a cow to survive, a chicken to survive, there needs to be some type of grain, some type of plant. And the energy that supports plant life and grain life is the mycelium or the mycorrhizal network. So we might think that God is in the sky, ladies and gentlemen, but understand that's an idea being fed to you. When we understand God, let's try with our hardest of hearts. Like, we got to have an open mind, because y'all rather believe in a God in the sky that you can't fathom, that provides you no sustenance whatsoever, versus a God that has all the sustenance, that is tangible, that is understandable, that we could be grateful for, that we could, dare I say, worship, to be a powerful source. And what I'm talking about is nature. We can bear witness to nature. So, if my thing is, if you believe in God, you believe in nature. So, can y'all bear witness to nature? One's in the chat if you can bear witness to nature and what constitutes as nature. Is that a real thing? And if you can understand it to be a real thing, but then see yourself in a comfortable house, you might feel like you have escaped that side of life. And so when we try to get closer to God in our homes, through our groups, through our friends, through our activities, we might feel like we are missing out on something still, even though all of these things are in spades. Y'all got enough money to pay y'all rent up for the next 3 years, but you still not happy. Cause it's not nothing to do. God has nothing to do with comfort. and more to do with nature, the mycelium network, nature, herbs, plant medicine, and of course, psychedelic mushrooms. So I'm going to just explain this time from December 21st to December 27th as solstice week. And something specific happens on the planet during solstice week. We're talking about literal, tangible, scientific things. So, first, we're going to deal with the scripture, then, we're going to deal with the science, and then we're just going to put it all, then, we're going to deal with the mythology, then, we're going to all put it together. And we're going to understand the real meaning of Christmas. Now, the reason that I'm choosing John out of the four gospels to dictate what is the, and I'm going to be scholarly on this. So if you're not, when I go to college, and I deal with professors, they don't give a fuck whether or not I comprehend or if I like their teaching style. Even deeper, if I don't like their teaching style and I don't comprehend what they're saying, that's my responsibility of a student to get the fuck over it. So, in this time that I'm going to spend with you guys, I'm not going to be attempting to entertain you. I'm going to be attempting to educate you. If you got an open mind and you're here to get educated, then you should have some type of pen and a pad and take notes. Because what I'm actually talking about is the truth. More than the truth, I'm going to make it literal and I'm going to make it plain for you to do the work yourself, because that's what it's about. It's easy to scam you into thinking that the solution is something that I have personally for you, and that's never going to be the truth. The truth is always going to be deep within you, but you need to first understand that you are God. And the work that you need to do is within you. But to get to a certain point of gnosis, one has to do the work, the consistency of it, the continuity of it. Because if you do not have a sense of self-awareness, then it does not matter. So the reason that I'm choosing the Gospel of John instead of Matthew, Mark, or Luke is because John is more in alignment with the truth. John bookends the Bible, okay? Revelation is written by John as well. Now, when we talk about John, we're talking about psilocybin. When we talk about Jesus, we're talking about psilocin. When we talk about John and Jesus, we're talking about specific mushrooms. This is all scientific. This is why the reason that you know that the Bible is scientific is because we're talking about it now, and they talked about it 2,000 years ago. That's how you know it's scientific. Whether you can understand chlorophyll, if I can tell you chlorophyll, but you don't know the definition of chlorophyll, and you say, fuck chlorophyll, I don't believe in chlorophyll, chlorophyll ain't real, but then you eat a leafy plant, it doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. It don't matter whether you believe in Jesus or not. If Jesus is real, if Jesus resurrects us, like we're talking about the birth of Jesus on December 25th every year. The only thing that is getting born every year during this time is mushrooms. That's the only thing. A man is not being born every year, but we're celebrating a birthday. A birthday. So when you get into this day, you obviously gonna deal with scriptures, because even conscious people saying Merry Christmas. Everybody saying everywhere you go, Merry Christmas. Secular people saying Merry Christmas. We say Merry Christmas the same way as we go open the door. It's a literal thing. But if you don't understand the literal nature of it, you and your conscious ass can be dumb as a doorknob, because you would learn, if you didn't know what Christmas mean, you obviously gonna hate it. If you don't know what Santa mean, you gonna hate it. Santa means Satan. Jesus ain't real. Every year, Merry Christmas. I would be going fucking insane if I was you. If I didn't connect biblical teachings to scientific teachings, even if it's not true, at least I know what the fuck is being said. Now y'all come to this day hating it and dreading it. Now you're conscious. You don't want to deal with nobody. You don't know. You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. You don't know anything. So you just mad because you don't know. Expect to be angry if you don't know. Expect to go off into tangents if you don't know. So when you deal with John, when you read the Bible, if you got a Bible, if you don't read nothing else, read the book of John, read the book of Revelation. You probably can get a book that got the Gospel of John and Revelation all in the same book, and you would be set. We talking about science. So we're going to read John chapter 1 all the way down to verse 14. And I'm not going to elaborate on a lot of points, but I'm going to elaborate on some points. Points that are obscure or abstract, and make it make sense. Because when you read John and when you read Revelation, these are highly metaphysical books that are talking about you and talking about the science of the soul. And you don't access the science of the soul without opening up your mind and start thinking beyond who you actually are. Because who you actually are, your mama and your daddy gave you those names, controlled you, manipulated you into a matrix that ain't even fucking real. So you gonna have to read something beyond what you've been raised into, your fundamental upbringing. And that's why this is why when you go to church, it's a bunch of people from families, right? But they ain't all from the same family. You ever thought about that? And they can all bear witness to the same God. You ever thought about that? Why? Because that same God is within all of the people within the congregation. This is why it's many different churches doing the same damn thing, right? Why? You ever thought about that? Why is that happening? Because God is within the human being. That's why John verse 1, chapter 1, this could actually be Genesis the way that it's worded. If you pay close attention to it, right? What are we reading about? We're reading about the everlasting birth of Christ. So if you think that's about a man, then you're taking these words literally about a human being or a spirit, and that wouldn't never make literal sense to you. However, if I talk about a psychedelic mushroom that happens during the winter solstice, then it makes perfect sense because it happened in 0 AD and it's happening in 2023. That means that the birth of Christ is everlasting. One in the chat if that makes literal sense to something that might be abstract for the end of all time in your mind. One in the chat if that can make sense. Like, I'm not trying to implant thoughts in your mind or nothing. I just wanted to know if that makes more sense than the everlasting birth of a figment of our imagination, or of this magical person that was born in a manger. Okay, born in a manger. What's the relative aspect to a manger? Well, the relative aspect to a manger is cow shit. That's what a manger houses, is cow shit. So what does cow shit have to do with anything other than mushrooms? Because mushrooms is where cow shit is where mushrooms grow from. Cow shit is where, if Jesus was born in a manger, that means that cow shit was born in a manger, or mushrooms was born in a manger. If you actually think about it, not no actual human, not no, a manger is like a pit. It's a pit where cow shit goes. What is a manger? How could a man be born in a manger? A manger, a trough, is a rack for fodder or structure or feeder used to hold food for animals. The word comes from the Old French mangier, meaning to eat, from the Latin mandere, meaning to chew. Mangers are mostly used in livestock raising and generally found at stables and farmhouses. They are used to feed wild animals in nature reserves. Okay, no human being is going to be there. However, when you think about eating or chewing something, bro, you're going to eat and chew a dry mushroom. Okay, when you in like a raw mushroom, you eat it and you chew it. That's kind of like, it's literally a manger. Now that I'm reading the etymology of it, it literally explains the experience of eating a raw psychedelic mushroom where you eat and chew it. But John, however, ironically or poetically, he doesn't talk about Jesus being born in a manger. He equates Jesus to being in reference to God in the beginning. So in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The thing about psychedelic mushrooms that I've noticed is that it really helps you with communication. And I see it almost like giving people power. That the reason that I'm saying it is because I'm telling you about it in a world where most people will not tell you about it, and they'll benefit from you because they're taking psychedelics and they're experiencing benefits from it. But then when you look at them, you're like, oh man, this dude's amazing or this girl's amazing. And you're like, what's your secret? And they telling you everything else, right? It's a lot of people like that. Just keep that in mind. Uh, keep that in mind, okay? They like to give people, the masses, the placebo, right? Give you the bread and crackers and the grape juice, and they'll be in the inner chamber, really partaking in psychedelic mushrooms, really getting channels, and that's why they can create the energy to lead people, and people follow them. Man, it's churches all over the world. It's people all over the world that sit on pedestals higher than other people. Sometimes we think people just naturally talented and all of that, which is cool, but why are they working for you? You ever thought about that? Why they giving everybody bread and crackers, and then they got the inner chambers where they getting wine and another different type of bread. So just a thought. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by it, and without it was made, nothing was made. Once again, abstract as hell, right? When we talk about God, it's always this abstract, thing, because we're looking at houses, we're looking at buildings, we're looking at structures, and we're like, how did God create this house that I gotta pay rent for? Right? God didn't create that. Man created that. God created nature. How was nature created? Nature, even us as human beings, is created with one cell. That one cell is God. That one cell runs concurrent throughout all life. It all breaks down to DNA and RNA, which can be found in a blade of grass. Chemicals, molecules, we all that same shit. The differentiations between different things, between blood and organs, is called cell regulation. But it's all the same cell. The same cell that created me can create a fucking shark. Me and a shark is only different by small variations of the same substance. This is God. This is nature. But when you build a house, when you build a building, when you start a business, when you start making money, you don't give a fuck about God no more, right? So when it says all things were made by it and without it, nothing was made, we're talking about the mycelium network that created the world, right? And then created plant life, that created humans, created animals, and it's all supposed to function under one ecosystem. And in essence, when you look at nature or a rainforest that's being destroyed, while we having this conversation, right? Rainforest is being destroyed. But your ass is hopping in your car, going to work, making your money, and you don't give a fuck. It's goddamn plastic bottles the size of Texas in the Pacific Ocean. But as long as your direct deposit come in, you don't give a fuck about God. Nature. So when we start to actually get into religious thought and spiritual thought, it could get real scary how much you don't give a fuck about it. In it was life, and the life was light, and in it was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, but the darkness comprehended it not. That's it, literally what I just said. When you are in modern society, secular society, where you say Merry Christmas and you don't know what the fuck it means, when you say Jesus Christ and you don't know who the fuck that is, what the fuck that is, you got to rely on a scholar or a theologian to tell you some shit, and you can't use your fucking common sense about God, but you can use your common sense to open the door. You know that a door is a door, but you don't know God from God. This is why Muslims and Jewish people and Christians can argue about God, but we can all walk through the same door. That to me is darkness. And because you are in darkness where you don't have a clear vision of what God is, you don't know what God is. You want to join a group and you want a nigga and you want some money, you want to travel, but you don't want to comprehend God. You don't want to comprehend the light within yourself. That is crazy. You don't care about God. You don't care about nature and the source of it all. And having a grasping of it for yourself. And I can only reflect on myself, right? Because verse 6 says, there was a man sent from God whose name was John. Literally, you would think, who is this man that was sent from God? And his name must be John. But we're talking about the Bible, and the Bible does not speak in literal terms on no level. It speaks on scientific terms. John and man are code for other things. Man, because man is specific to what? A penis. A mushroom growing out the ground looks exactly like a penis. That's why man in Jesus and man in the Bible signifies mushrooms or phallic-like plant-like structures, such as whorehound or ashwagandha, things of that nature. Because we're talking about botany, we're talking about science, we're talking about real shit. That's why the Bible got, I'm not even gonna lie, how many plants are in the Bible? Because I was gonna lie to you. Maybe it got 2. I don't know. Let's see. It said planets. I said plants. How many planets? Type shit. How many plants are in the Bible? The ancient book mentions about 110 plant species. Period. So let's continue. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. Y'all could look for the man all day long. You never gonna find him. You always gonna find a scam artist. Period. This man came as a witness to bear witness to the light so that all through him might believe. So psilocybin, right, is a phosphate, meaning that it has a light bearing shell around it, to whereas nobody experienced psilocybin. You only experience psilocin, or the light, or Jesus. Psilocin is you can Google this, psilocin is the substance that triggers a psychedelic experience, i.e., the light, so that all through him might believe. He was not that light. Psilocybin is not that light, but was sent to bear witness of the light. It carries the light. That was the true light who lights all men that come into this world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, yet the world knew him not. As long as all of us have been alive, psilocybin has been in this world. We've had access to psilocybin through our own productive research, time, place, understanding, mycological research, things of that nature. But we wouldn't never dare do that because we gotta work. It's Christmas time, so we gotta cook a fucking ham. Right? You gotta cook that motherfucking ham. I gotta bring the paper plates, shit like that. So who gives a fuck about mushrooms, right? This is why niggas can talk about all that Christian shit, but dare I ask you for $20 to help me with gas money for the month? You gonna look at me like I'm crazy, but all of a sudden you believe in Christ. I don't need that type of Christianism in my life. I don't need no groupthink Christianity, no morality Christianity, because at the same time, we can't even have a scientific discussion on the facts, the reality of the shit that you believe in. The shit that you believe in, the shit that matters to you the most. You will never see a Christian reading the Bible. Why is that? That shit weird to me. Niggas that hit you with, they greatest hits, they favorite quotes that help them in their life, but then want to talk about where I should be on Sunday. Some moral authority. So when people say that they Christians, in their own Bible, it says that he was in the world and the world was made by him, yet the world knew him not. All I'm doing is putting in Google mycelium network and creation, and I wonder what pops up. We on the National Forest Foundation, the underground networking, the amazing connection beneath your feet. Imagine if God wasn't in the air somewhere, right? What if God was beneath your feet? See, Zeus is the god of thunder, and somebody commented on one of my videos on Instagram that the mycorrhizal network look exactly like thunder. And even deeper, Jesus is a direct derivative of Zeus. The same way as Jesus is a direct derivative of Dionysus, and Dionysus and Jesus are synonyms as well. Dionysus is the son of Zeus. So when we talk about mythology, we got to talk about science, or else it don't matter. Because we know the difference between Marvel and our science class. We smart enough to know the difference. We know one is fantasy and one has real life implications. This is why we can understand mythology 5,000 years later, because it was scientific. And when Zeus is the number one deity and Zeus is the god of thunder, we talking about not in the sky. We talking about beneath your feet. Listen to this. Walking through a forest is easiest to pay attention to what is happening at eye level and above. Birds, sunlight, wind, branches, there's a lot to observe. Next time you're exploring a forest, consider what lies below the soil, leaves, and moss, the carpet, the ground. Underneath the forest, the floor, intertwined with the roots and trees, is a fascinating microscopic network of fungus. When most people think of fungus, we imagine mushrooms sprouting out from the ground. These mushrooms are in fact the fruit of the fungus. If y'all ever wanted to go over Genesis, we could. All they doing is eating fruit in Genesis and becoming like gods and things of that nature. That's another conversation for another day. Today we talking about the birth of Christ, right? I'm sure Jesus is the fruit of something, right? While the majority of the fungal organism lives in the soul, interwoven with tree roots as a vast network of mycelium. Mycelium are incredibly tiny threads of a greater fungal organism that wrap around or bore into tree roots. Taken together, mycelium composes what is called a mycorrhizal network, which connects individual plants together to transfer water, nitrogen, carbon, and other minerals. Woolen dubbed this network the Wood Wide Web, as it is the mycelium, the trees, as it is through mycelium that the trees communicate. Okay? So now I'm talking about trees and things of that nature, but you got to understand, if it wasn't for motherfucking trees, your ass wouldn't even have a house. Trees are an important part to what we call survival. We talking about cabins before houses, huts, and things of that nature. So plants, even if we eat animals, some of y'all eat animals, the animals need plants. And if the plant don't have water, some people say it's all coming from the sun, but it also comes from the mycelium network transferring water to these plants. So all of this is happening while you go through happy-go-lucky with your life. So when John says this in the Bible, this to me is what he's talking about in the simpler terms. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, yet the world knew him not. Verse 11 continues on. He came among his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them he gave power to be the children of God, in that they believed on his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor yet the will of man, but of God. So, long story short, this isn't nothing to do with your family, friends, social circle. You can't be given this through your mama's lineage. If your daddy was a Mason, all of the things that, how much money you make, how cute you are, all of these particular things. Because when you are under the will of nature, because when we talk about nature, we're talking about the netters. So in the netters, we connect nature to the cosmos. The reason that we connect nature to cosmos is because we really supposed to be operating off a circadian rhythm like the rest of the wildlife, where we get absorption of cosmic energies through darkness. And that is another form of enlightenment, to where we wake up with certain ideas. And then we have the particular vessel to act out our ideas. The problem is our natural processes and programs are completely destroyed and disrupted by this man-made time. December 25th is Christmas. The Gregorian calendar. And time fucks us up so bad that we don't even give a fuck. We only care about time, that we don't even give a fuck about the cosmos. But we got to understand, without the cosmos, meaning the rotation of the planetary structures, i.e. the sun, we wouldn't even know what time it is. Without the sun, how can we know what time it is? You ever just woke up and not knew what time it was till you looked at a clock? Well, you could look at the position of the sun in relation to the shadow. That's why they had those sundials. Before there was digital clocks, you could tell by how the sundial and the shadow in the sun. So our concept of time comes from the planetary. But if you got a clock on your goddamn wrist, i.e. or your phone, you don't even care about the time. The true time. The cosmos. So, he came among his own, and his own received him not. Once again, there is no grouping to spiritual development. It is only a subjective experience. And I wish I could give it to you. I would charge you $59.99. I would put it on a sale. Spiritual development, spiritual enlightenment. I would sell that shit. The only thing is, it's not for sale. Because if the spirit came in front of you, stood in your face, you would receive him not. But as many as received him, to them he gave the power to be the children of God. In that way, they believed on his name, who were born not of blood, nor the will of the flesh, nor yet the will of man. The will of the flesh is interesting because when you take psychedelics, you probably gonna want to have sex. I'm gonna just put that out there. You take a high dosage and you got a girl, man, fuck it. I done took some psychedelics and ain't had nobody and cut on that porn and went to a whole nother dimension through the porn. So you don't even gotta have nobody. That's the real tea. How many of y'all taking psychedelics to jack off? That'll be a whole nother video. I didn't even think we was gonna go there, but we here now. Hey, we're not talking about the will of the flesh. The will of the flesh is not the will of your personal flesh. It is what the psychedelics naturally tell you to do. Some weird shit. This is why you can't just be sitting in your room taking high doses of psychedelics without no spiritual purpose or no spiritual understanding or no spiritual outlet or no spiritual setting, right? You just in that same room taking psychedelics, you gonna be that same person. You have to actually understand the root causes of all of this shit, or else you will be thinking mushrooms is something to get you high or have a good feeling. But the reality of this conversation is that mushrooms connect you to the mic. Isn't it a normal reference, a normal assumption to make that when you ingest psychedelic mushrooms, you're more connected to the information that exists in the mycological mycorrhizal network. The same way that Prince, the same way that plants give you these downloads, psychedelics, they give you more of a download. I just want you to know that that's what's happening before you pull your dick out. You would be more understanding of what's taking place if you put your being in a spiritual setting. Like all of that spiritual shit you doing without psychedelics, try to include psychedelics in your ritual at the lake. That way, you will get insight from God because you're in the mode of God versus just laying there with your chick or just kind of, I don't know. I don't know what y'all do. So, yeah, whatever it is that y'all do, just doing it with mushrooms, I don't advise. I'm talking about high dosages. And I'm going to stop here and I'm going to get into some more Christmas things. But right now we're talking about the birth of Christ according to John. And we started off the verse by simply saying that in the beginning, the Word was God, and the Word was with God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And in verse 14, it says, and the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. That is December 25th, winter solstice, where the Word is made flesh and dwelt among us. Now we have sophisticated the process. We have learned how to reproduce psychedelic plants. But in this particular time, psychedelic plants, mushrooms just grew out of the ground, right? So as opposed to an abstract sentence that makes no sense when you just lay it out. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. What the fuck are they actually talking about? See, this is when y'all get into church in the Bible and you have this suspension of disbelief, the same way as you watch Home Alone and you think a little kid could actually defeat two grown-ass men set out to kill him. He's that smart. And nobody calls the police to come pick up the kid that's home alone. His family's gone and nobody comes pick him up. That's the same belief that y'all have when reading the Bible. See, Home Alone and the Bible got a lot in common. When you start to look at it from real life, you got to begin to put the pieces together. And that's where you get the value of the Bible. That's where you understand the science of it. Now, I'm not swaying or doing nothing. I said John was psilocybin and Jesus was psilocin. And these are the components of a psychedelic mushroom. You can Google it and research it if you want more information. So why wouldn't verse 14 be in the same vein of the previous sentences? I'm not going to sway. And the Word was made flesh. Flesh is a very interesting word that brings us to, let's do Aztec mushroom meaning. I don't know how to spell it. I don't know how to say it or spell it, but I'm gonna act like I do. It'll get me there. Tianacto. Tianacto in Nahuti, literally God mushroom. So I'm a crazy nigga, right? I'm a crazy ass black person on YouTube talking nonsense. But the Aztecians call the mushroom God. Why would they call it God? And you think God is up in the sky, in the wilderness somewhere, in a spaceship somewhere. Compounds, words, tio, which means God, and anactyl, which means mushroom. The mushroom genus psilocybe has a long history of use in Mesoamerica. The members of the Aztec upper class will often take. Listen, did y'all read this? We need to get into this. The Aztec upper class. That's the same as them preachers and them damn spiritual people actually taking psychedelics, getting downloads, getting online, getting in front of the congregation, moving these people to tears and all of that shit. And you like, damn, he filled with the Holy Spirit. No, he just took some goddamn mushrooms. The upper class, listen, Mesoamerica, United States, it is no fucking real borders. The borders are man-made. So the plants ain't saying, well, we in Mesoamerica, we can't go to United States because, Trump built the wall. When you talk about America, you talking about this whole shit from Alaska to fucking Chile. That's the same thing. So them is our brothers and sisters. It's the same rituals, the same energy, the same everything. It's just that we so disconnected as black people that we are Christians more than anybody. But the facts of Christianity, y'all niggas don't want to talk about it. Y'all want to just deal with the placebo effect. I ain't with the placebo effect. I'm down to have any conversation with anybody on anything that I'm talking about, because none of these niggas that stand before you even giving you, they not on the internet searching with you. They not showing you websites or no shit like that. They not telling you where they got their sauce from, cause they don't understand, bro. They don't understand. They don't know how to fish. They feel like if they give you information, you gonna take food off of their table. Man, this shit is so abundant. We live in this world that is so abundant and so prosperous that shit, I can only help you the way I've been helped, not by these niggas. These niggas ain't, nah. I'm talking about the source, God. God's flesh. So, Teotihuacan, in search of Aztecs, God's flesh. So, in America, we have an understanding that the flesh of God is the mushroom. It's only when you get into these churches or these religious conversations where you hear the word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and that being Jesus. Listen, any Bible scholar will tell you that John chapter 1 verse 14 is explaining Jesus in the Eucharist. And the word was made flesh and dwelt among us. That's Jesus. And we saw the glory of it, and the glory as the only begotten Son of the Father, which was full of grace and truth. Not talking about an actual nigga. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, "This is of whom I spoke, and who he came after me." This is Selassie. Went before me because he was before me. The whole aspect of psilocybin. Psilocybin is this big thing, right? But it's really the Selassie that is the active aggressor to what is called the trip or psychedelic experience. It is the Selassie that gives you that experience. And the truth came by Jesus Christ. No man has seen God at any time. Right? The only begotten Son who is in the bosom of the Father. The bosom of the Father. See, you begin to think this is based upon Dionysian mythology, right? When they say the only begotten Son who is in the bosom of the Father, see, Dionysus was born in the thigh of Zeus. And it's like, what is they talking about? They just talking about how the mushroom is connected to the mycelium network. That's all they're talking about. And it just birthing. And the reason why it is birth from a man or Jesus was born from a virgin is because mushrooms are grown without a seed. At that time, they didn't understand spores, so it was just this miraculous growth. And you pick up this mushroom out of the earth and you take it and you have these psychedelic visions that would give you in tune with God. And you would start talking to people and you would start prophesying over them. A person to take them, have demons, mental illness, and it'll cure their mental illness. And it happened every year. It was a festival, Saturnalia. All of these festivals, all of these great times. We're talking about something specific here that has been forgotten. And so I just want to just have conversations that make sense. So let's go further. This is mushrooms, Christmas, and winter solstice. There are many winter solstice traditions that exist for cultures around the world. But one in particular involves a little red mushroom that's common in Colorado and many other parts of the world. The Amanita muscaria, often called the fly agaric, while mushrooms often cause me to recall foraging on cool fall days, and that those fungi have long since been covered by a blanket of snow at Colorado's high elevations, this particular shroom is a winter holiday emblem. It's the mushroom you see when you picture the classic red and white speckled toadstools of folklore and fairy tales, and has long played an important role in wintertime traditions among many cultures. Okay? So just laying that out there. Because every year this thing happens. Some people pay attention to it, some people don't pay attention to it, but it's still going to happen. That to me is how I identify God. God don't need no recognition. Nature never needs recognition. Nature at this point needs some, not necessarily saving, but we need to stop fucking with it so much at this point. So in this article, it is, what is the winter solstice and what does it have to do with Christmas? And I felt that this is a very important understanding, because when you are celebrating Christmas, you are celebrating a winter solstice. That's what you're celebrating. You're not celebrating the birth of Christ. You're not celebrating none of this. You're celebrating a specific time of planetary alignment. So what is the winter solstice? This is the shortest day of the night or the year of this 24-hour period, with the fewest hours of sunlight for those on the northern hemisphere. Why does it happen? It all comes down to the Earth's 23.4 degree tilt, which gives us the four seasons as we know it. So why is this called Saturnalia? Because before the 23.4 degree tilt, the Earth operated at a 0 degree tilt, meaning that there wasn't a need for four seasons, because the light from Saturn and the light from the sun, the Earth was so close to Saturn that we got heat from Saturn, right? And I'm gonna explain this in real life. Because there was constant sunlight, human beings during this time were able to create structures that exist to this day. What am I talking about? We're talking about the Egyptian pyramids. The reason that people don't ever understand how or why they're built and why we could never build them again, because of a specific planetary alignment and the Earth's tilt. But something happened. I don't know what happened that threw us off that tilt, and the Earth was no longer a moon to Saturn. It became its own planet and had its own moon and had its own tilt. And that caused us to have seasons. So during the winter months, right, when things get cold, it's natural for the human being at a DNA level to wish for hot days during this time. This is why a lot of Americans who can afford it that live up north take this time to go on vacations. It's called winter break, where you go to Florida or Texas or somewhere hot because at a DNA level, you want to honor the god Saturn, right? Because this was a tropical paradise on Earth that seasons removed. So now we're operating at a 23.4 degree tilt, and this is, as this says, the reason why we have 4 seasons. The tilt means that the arc of the sun moves through during the day and will rise and fall across the earth. When it's spunt away, we have a nighttime. We got to go to sleep, do all of this stuff. Well, the pyramids were built in a time where there was no reason to sleep. And if we never slept, we never got tired, and we just had all of these ideas, the light just constantly radiated and rolled through the earth, then we were able to accomplish these amazing feats that never happened ever again, right? Because niggas got to go to sleep, right? So that's basically what that's about. So to keep reading, giving us the summer. Well, the arc of the sun moves during the sky, which will rise and fall across the year as the earth pole points either towards away from the sun or towards the sun, giving us the summer and the winter solstice and the spring and autumn equinoxes. This is when there are equal amounts of day and night. It also happens when the sun is at the lowest in the sky for the northern hemisphere, when the North Pole is pointing away from the sun. So, what does this have to do with Christmas? The old Julian calendar, used around 46 BCE, used to celebrate the winter solstice on December 25th. So there was an old calendar. And then the Gregorian calendar, introduced in the 1500s, not so long ago, right? This is where we lost it all, when this calendar got introduced to people. When people start believing in time and started losing the collective consciousness of the cosmos. Because before time, before think about it, we're so close to it that we literally call a month a month a month, which is crazy because most people don't even reflect that the month and the moon are the same thing. And the month and the moon is related to the feminine cycle. All of these things were the same. We understood time through our cycle, through the cycles of the moon, and all of it got lost with the introduction of the Gregorian calendar. And then they tried to create different systems and organizations to act like, a woman don't even have a menstrual for real. Like, a woman have a menstruation every month. Every woman that that's of a certain age is having a menstruation. How much do you fucking know about it? How much do you know about her cycles, the names of her cycles, how her cycles are organized? You don't know shit about it. And I know you don't know shit about it because you know what week it is. You know what day it is. So you don't have to know about the cycles, right? You just need to know what day it is. So when they introduced this, they also said, let's read, the Gregorian calendar introduced in the 1500s ended up rearranging the dates of the year, so the solstice became December 21st. But Christians continued to celebrate Jesus' birth on the original date, December 25th. And I want you to see what they did in this little section, right? They said that the winter solstice was on December 25th, but then they ended and said Christians celebrated Jesus' birthday on December 25th. Why? Because the winter solstice and Jesus and the birth of Jesus are the same thing. So let's just try to open our minds a little bit more and deal with some mycology to make us try to get more of a reasoning for why Christmas is such a powerful day, the birth of Jesus, Jesus being a powerful thing, right? But for most of us, he is a mere placebo. And we know that Jesus is a placebo because none of us believe in Jesus, right? How you going to believe in something that's not real? But your mom believe in Jesus because she's under the placebo, right? She believes in Jesus wholeheartedly. So what is a placebo? Before, because I might be using language and verbiage that you might not understand, but I'm gonna do a slight clarification because it's very important. So you can understand why your mom's belief in Jesus doesn't actually prove the truth of Jesus. However, you can understand why she believes in something. What is a placebo? A placebo can be roughly defined as a sham medical treatment. What do they mean by that? And they really need to clarify by a sham medical treatment because the person that is being treated really sincerely feels that the treatment is working. A placebo is any treatment that has no active properties, such as a sugar pill. There are many clinical trials where a person has taken the placebo instead of the active treatment but has reported an improvement on symptoms. A belief in a treatment may be enough to change the course of a person's physical illness. And I find that that speaks to the testament of the power of psychedelic mushrooms is that you don't even have to take a psychedelic mushroom to bear witness to the power of it, right? Or the power of Jesus. What is it actually? Ask your mom what Jesus is, who he is, in real terms, point it out, show it to me, hold it in your hand. They're not going to be able to do that. However, if you said, show me a mushroom right now, I could show you a mushroom right now. I could pull it out, put it on camera, show you exactly what it looked like, hold it in my hand, eat it, chew on it, i.e., Jesus was born in a manger, right? Manger means to eat, to chew, right? And we do eat Jesus. We do eat Jesus every Sunday. It's called the Eucharist, right? Every first Sunday, we are eating Jesus. So we all grew up as Christians, so I don't know why this seems so weird and hard for y'all to believe. It was perfectly fine when you was jumping up and down in church and didn't know why you was jumping up and down, but now I give you the science of it. Now I'm the crazy one. That's why I got to pull up articles and read the articles so it could be more than one crazy person on the earth. It's me and whoever wrote this article. We the only crazy motherfuckers on here. The influence of hallucinogenic mushrooms on Christmas. The story of Santa Claus is not the creation of Coca Cola, nor St. Nicholas, or a children's story. It exists because of a small living being with great powers, the Amanita muscaria mushroom. And remember, we had said in our first article, right? Mushrooms, Christmas, and the winter solstice, right? These particular mushrooms, these red cap mushrooms, grow during the winter solstice. This is why Christians celebrated the birth of Jesus during the winter solstice, when it is also biblical scholars and theologians that say Jesus wasn't even born on the winter solstice. It's a whole if you want a rabbit hole, talk about how Jesus was born in the fall, how biblical how the whole thing saying, well, how Jesus born in the winter and the three wise men riding on camels, right? If it was the winter, they wouldn't been able to ride on camels. They would have been on they would have been on some type of sleds or something. So it, it it's a whole rabbit hole of when he actually was born, but the common consensus is that he was born on December 25th, thus meaning that these mushrooms actually grow during the winter solstice, but the winter solstice was December 25th, and now it's December 21st. But Christians said, man, fuck all that shit. It was December 25th. All right, so let's continue to read. There we go. Hundreds of years ago, it was found that the winter solstice ceremony of the indigenous people of the North Pole, especially the Koryaks of Siberia and the Kamachaldes, had similar traditions to the one of the last century's Christmas Eve. In the ancestral communities of the Arctic, the winter solstice, which occurs on December 21st, was a ceremonial and festive date. Rituals were conducted that were guided by shamans who collected the Amanita muscaria mushroom, also called the flygaric, which has powerful hallucinogenic properties. Amanita muscaria is striking and characteristic in appearance with this red hat with white dots. It grows in the ground near trees such as birch and pine. The latter, for the indigenous people of the North, are trees of life, a name that related to their great height. Therefore, the place where the fly agaric mushroom was a place of particular value. The toxicity of Amanita muscaria when ingested is high. So before taking it, they had to dehydrate them on branches of the pines. So they basically just told you, it just now hit me, they just told you the mystery of the Christmas tree. Why the fuck niggas got Christmas trees on the birth of Jesus? It's the birth of Jesus, but niggas want Christmas trees in their house. What is that symbolic of? Give me a clear symbolic of how it's related to Jesus. Don't tell me because Jesus was hung on a tree. No, we ain't talking about the death of Jesus. That's in Easter. We talking about the birth of Jesus when he was in a manger. Where you get a pine tree from? Why everybody's house in this motherfucker got a Christmas tree? Why? Well, I can tell you, I can give you a definition if you don't come up with nothing. If you don't come up with nothing, I can give you an explanation. It's because the mushrooms that are connected to the mycorrhizal network, the trees, which are connected to the mycorrhizal network, meaning that because they might be a high concentration of mycorrhizal activity, meaning that it would produce a mushroom during a particular time of year, which would be cool because being a family can collect them, right? And drink them and eat them and do whatever we need to do with them and have a good time, which would be cool because there's no other way that I would have access to this mushroom. I can't grow it. I can't take a seed from it. I'm completely dependent on the underground network to produce this mushroom so me and my family can have a good time. And it only grows under a tree. So this is why the pine tree is symbolic to Christmas. See, I don't even have a Christmas tree, so it didn't make one and one didn't make three, but now it makes perfect sense. And I almost missed it, but it just hit me like, oh shit, all y'all niggas got Christmas trees and don't even know why y'all got fucking Christmas trees. Your mama got a Christmas tree. All y'all secular ass non-conscious niggas got Christmas trees and don't even know the fuck why, but I'm crazy. Don't even have the slightest clue of why you got a fucking Christmas tree. And don't say because everybody else got Christmas trees, because that ain't no reason for shit. That ain't no explanation for nothing. The toxicity, okay, let's just go. Let's go. The toxicity of the Amanita muscaria when ingested is high, so before taking it in, they had to dehydrate them on branches of the pines. A second possibility was to put them in socks and spread them over a fire, an image that closely resembles the Christmas tradition of hanging Christmas boots over chimneys. Now, you put little small gifts into those Christmas socks. Why? Oh, you don't know why you do it? I'll give you an explanation. Because mushrooms have to dehydrate before you ingest them, and they would put them over the fireplace, right? Because we had grandmas and grandpas that actually had them houses with fireplaces, and that's where everybody would put the stockings at, right over the fireplace. And it wouldn't be actually on, and it wouldn't be actually drying nothing, but it was symbolic. Symbolic of what? Drying mushrooms. So why is grandma and grandpa doing this shit? Why is y'all doing this shit? Why are we doing this shit as human beings? We have no answers to those questions, Kyrie. Well, I'm giving you answers right now. The title of this video is The Real Meaning of Christmas. And if you find anybody with an explanation better than mine, set up a debate. Because I want to be proved wrong. Because other than this, it's just a bunch of people just doing a whole bunch of shit that they just don't even know why the fuck they doing it. Additionally, the rain, because all of this shit is happening simultaneously with the birth of Christ, and it only relates, both things only relate to the mushroom. You can't have both things and it relate to anything else. I wish that, if that makes sense, let me know. Additionally, the reindeer will have great help in reducing the toxicity of the mushroom since they can eat Amanita muscaria without suffering the effects of its venom. Thus, the urine of the animals was used since they already filtered the harmful components of the mushroom, but which still maintain its hallucinogenic effects. In this little paragraph, they gave you niggas the game. I don't never want to hear a nigga saying, I took some mushrooms, but I ain't get no experience from it, hood. I ain't get the right experience from it, hood. It ain't hit me like it was supposed to hit me. It ain't that strong. I don't know what they talking about. It ain't really. You supposed to piss it out and then drink it. Because now you done filter all the harmful chemicals out. But you know, John, Jesus, right? The same thing applies. Now you ingest in pure psilocybin. If you can stomach the effects of drinking urine, which to make it easier, you just drink a whole bunch of water and wine, and you don't drink no bullshit or eat no bullshit. You go on a water fast. If you go on a water fast, not even for 24 hours, if you go like on a, let's just say a 10-hour water fast, you eat dinner or eat food or whatever, like you eat an early lunch, let's just say at 10 o'clock, and you eat a lot of food that's going to satisfy you for the day, and you drink water for the rest of the day. Come 8 o'clock, you take mushrooms and then you piss again. It's going to taste like water. It's like literally going to taste like water. So that's just, you could call me crazy, but we're reading the same words. We're reading the same words. And this is the reason and the meaning of shit. Niggas always want to deal with the external shit and not even have a reason for why they doing the shit. And when somebody try to break it down to you, you just start looking at them like they crazy. After the shaman had ingested the mushrooms or drunk the urine of the reindeer, the hallucination and reactions of the Amanita began, such as the feelings of joy, desire to sing, and increased muscle tone. That meant he wanted to get some of that pussy. So any physical effort was easier to perform. The legend says that during the trips, the shamans managed to see the future of the community. They could turn into animals and fly towards the North Star in search of knowledge to share with the rest of the people. And at the end of their hallucinogenic experience, they were returned to the group in their yurt or their house and met with the important men of the town to begin with the solstice ceremony, in addition to sharing those visions with the community. See, when niggas be doing this, y'all call them crazy, right? Or y'all didn't want to join their cult or join their group or some weird shit like this. But we need to be more in the tradition of being able to go on having psychedelic experiences safely and soundly, journaling, getting downloads from the spiritual realm, and then getting back online, reporting live from channel Celestial Galaxy, giving us the downloads. But niggas can't do that without trying to figure out how they gonna make some money out of it. Listen, I started this YouTube channel with no intentions to make $1. Meaning that if it do grow into something you can make some money from, that's great. But having a YouTube channel shouldn't be your motivation to start a YouTube channel is how much money can you make doing it? Cause you probably ain't gonna make shit doing it at first. But if you have a specific message that the spiritual family you need to share that shit. And if you want to know how to get those messages, I'm telling you how. And it ain't from joining no spiritual group, no fucking cult, or no weird shit like that. You got to do the work your motherfucking self. You got to have the people around you that's really about this life for real. You got to be able to have these conversations. And listen, you be with a motherfucker that hate your fucking guts. You know what I'm saying? Cancel the spiritual journey. It ain't gonna happen. Cause you're gonna be too concerned with what this motherfucker feel about you to even tap into your source. You need love, energy, and for real. I done seen this goddamn documentary and these motherfuckers was scamming motherfuckers for millions. So don't come around me talking about you love me and we can't even make $20. That don't even make sense. And I'm not even trying to scam nobody. I'm trying to actually do this work and actually help people. So shit. it gotta be a happy middle with this shit. One, am I saying making money is bad? No. But doing the spiritual shit with the primary purpose to make money is horrible. It's worse than bad. It will ruin your fucking life. It will ruin your spirit. Fuck your life. It'll ruin your spirit. It will, man, these niggas out here that have done this spiritual shit wrong, the karma that come behind that shit is crazy, bro. You do not I used to think like maybe these niggas is getting away with shit, but the documentary that I seen last night, I realized you cannot get away with tricking God's people out of their fucking kingdom, dog. I swear to God, you God yourself. I am not God. At no level am I nobody's God. I am nobody's leader. I am none of that. All of this shit is within you. I promise you that. And if it worked for me, it might not work for you. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you that as well. But at the same time, you gonna have to have some knowledge. You gonna have to know that the spirituality is real. So on one level, I understand and realize that the spiritual channels that I've been receiving is real. And on another level, I understand the messaging is clear. Where motherfuckers tell you that you can't do it by yourself, they is fucking lying. That's a lie. You can do it by yourself. If you believe in your spirit team strong enough and you pay attention to the messages and you follow your intuition and you believe and you truly are willing to sacrifice your ego for what your spirit has to tell you and you do it in a sincere way and you don't leave your motherfucking kids behind, because your spirit is not going to tell you to leave your kids behind on no level. Bring they badass along with you, because they're part of the story too. So any pressures in your life make you think you need to run away from your kids, spirits would have never gave you them kids if you wouldn't be able to take care of them. Right? So, hey, if you do the crime, you do the time, okay? So whatever you thinking, that got you into this situation, if God can put you in this situation, he can pull you out of this situation. But this is where it's a time not to panic. Like, we about to get into these channels. Like, I've been getting real live channels and real live information. And it's like, it's going to help people. But at the same time, It's either gonna help you or it's not. It ain't gonna be no buy-in to the shit. Like that shit crazy. And the karma that be coming behind these niggas, man, that be doing this foul shit in the name of spirituality because niggas is so gullible, is so crazy, man. It's sad, bro. I feel sad for the fucking fake spiritualists. That's why I feel bad for, because they don't even understand the karma that they bringing in their life. You gonna play with this spiritual shit, and this shit gonna play out as spiritual, and then you gonna be looking at the spirits like, what the fuck? And it was like, bro, you ain't even have to go out like that. So, shaman psychotropic journeys are believed to be related to the idea that Santa Claus travels with his sleigh and reindeer through the skies to deliver gifts. Gifts are information. If I give you a toy, how many of y'all still playing with y'all toys that y'all got for Christmas when y'all was a kid? Literally none of y'all. But how many of y'all is benefiting off of powerful information such as discipline, you know, how to do a particular workout or how to live your life a certain way, or spiritual knowledge that benefited you that you're still utilizing and practicing to this day? You still practice, you read a good book, right? That gave you some applicable knowledge, i.e., chakra nova, spiritual being having the human experience, things of that nature, right? That's much more valuable than a fucking toy, okay? So I don't give a fuck about giving no kid no toy on Christmas, right? I have a relationship with my children to where my children can talk to me, you know. I'm, building bridges with my children of information. That's more important. A lot of y'all buying gifts for y'all kids. Y'all kids ain't even talking to y'all about their fucking problems. Make that make sense. But here you go, baby. I got you a new PS5, mom. I'm going through puberty and I think I want to fuck boys. PS5 is coming out. I got you the new game. Yeah, I'm going through it. I'm depressed. Did you want an extra controller? I'm really struggling with life and yeah, did you want some Ugg boots? How about a Montclair coat? The gift given by the shamans was the knowledge that the mushroom gave them, in addition to sharing portions of it among those present. I think that I'm a shaman right now in this. I think I'm in the true Christmas spirit, right? I'm trying to spread knowledge to people to help them understand that they are gods. And that's what I only try to do during this presentation, during this lecture, because you can't do it with nobody else. If you don't believe in yourself and you come around me and I believe in myself, it's not going to work. If I believe in myself, the more you don't believe in yourself, it's going to only exacerbate one way for me and one way for you. And then you might hate me for believing in myself. Ain't that crazy? So the real reason why you might be isolated or nobody fuck with you is because you always down on yourself. And when I mean you always down on yourself, I can't support you more than you support your motherfucking self. I'm not that spiritual. Nobody that spiritual. I can do the best that I can, but at a certain level, you are going to have to fuck with you more than anybody fucks with you. Another similarity with Christmas imaginary is that the entrance to the yurts was the hole in the roof because the main door was covered with snow. Thus, the shaman made his appearance descending from the highest part of the house, similar to Santa Claus descending through the chimney. So, I'm not going to read this whole thing. I'll read this though, because it seemed interesting. With time, Christianity related to the Christmas tradition to the 4th century Turkish bishop Saint Nicholas of Bari, who also inspired the character of Santa Claus since he used to give gifts to those in need, especially the children. A cheerful, playful, and at the same time realistic Santa Claus was the commission that Coca-Cola gave the illustrator had in Sunbloom in 1931. Hence the current image of Santa Claus, thus the power of the Amanita muscaria mushroom has marked the history of Christmas until this day. The rites on this date, close to the December solstice, are preserved until today with clear modifications, but the mushrooms remain present through Christmas decorations and design that connect us with thousands of years of tradition. So, I feel that it's a powerful time not to get with family, not to exchange gifts or no weird shit like that. I feel that it's a powerful time if you have access to psychedelic mushrooms and are able during this week, to partake and to get some information, some downloads. That's actually what I've been doing this week. I've been really channeling Pascal Beverly Randolph, and beyond that, some other things have been happening that have truly opened my eyes. So I'm only saying this as a subjective experience and to open you up to possible subjective experiences for yourself that, maybe you can take some time to do some spiritual work, to have some downloads, to get some information other than what your boss telling you the next project is or some weird shit like that. So beyond that, I hope y'all enjoyed this. I hope y'all took some notes. Hope it inspired you to do some research on psychedelic mushrooms. Google search any of the words that I said. This was an educational lecture to help you understand the real meaning of Christmas. And shout out to the initiates of the flame. Hopefully, we can get some videos in this week and discuss some things. And if y'all have some interesting things that you want me to cover, you want me to discuss, I'm always down for that. Just send me a DM at my Instagram at thehoodmystic or email me at hoodmystic.com. Also, want to say before I get up out of here, be sure to visit whiterabbitpsych.com. We will are running this sale for 25% off your products today, tomorrow, and tomorrow and Tuesday. And then after that, the sale will be over. Just use coupon code Santa at checkout to save 25% off your order and free shipping. Because after the 26th, we will be charging a $10 delivery or shipping rate flat fee for all orders. We appreciate your support, and hopefully you are ready to tap in a real and major way. My name is the Hood Mystic, also known as Kyrie Anthony. Go ahead and Google that. Cop one of those books while you at it. After you read the reviews,